Hi, this is Karen Arnpriester again. This is my third story, and I'm on a roll. I don't know, this is fun. So I'm hoping that you're enjoying it as much as I am. Um, I want to kind of do a disclaimer. I realized after I posted the crow story that actually in the book, this conversation with my son was the evening before, not the morning of the crow. So it was the next day, not the same day. So I just kind of wanted for transparency to kind of clarify that. But this third story is called dumpster diving, and it involves my husband, and it's actually a call to action and answered prayers. And my husband was working in the Pleasanton area for a printing company, and his job was to drive and deliver. So he was all over the Bay Area, Fremont, Walnut Creek. He would go everywhere. And he'd been working there at least 5 years when this happened. So it was Thanksgiving, and traffic was stop and go. It was horrendous. He was, trying to get home, or at that point, he was trying to get back to the business to drop off the truck to go home. And he had, probably several hours to get through the Altamont Pass and to get all the way to Manteca, where we lived. So, so that helps you to kind of understand that, you know, this was not an evening to be leisurely. This was an evening that you wanted to get through the traffic and get home. So he was coming in from Fremont on, I think it's 680, and there's an off ramp there that, right when you're getting into Pleasanton, that would take him to his old job where he used to work. Now, he drove by this off ramp probably thousands of times over the 5 years and never had an impulse to go to where he used to work. Um, the thing about where he used to work, it was a chain of commercial businesses, like all put together in one building. And at the end was a company that provided all that oddball stuff that you find at the gas stations and things where you buy it, your kid wants something. Well, things that weren't moving, they would throw into the dumpsters. And so when my husband worked that job next door, periodically he would check the dumpsters to see if they'd thrown away anything worth salvaging, to give to the neighborhood kids or the grandkids or whatever. But now you got to realize that's been 5 years since he worked there. And, he just never thought to go check the dumpsters. So on this Thursday night, he was coming up to the off ramp, and he just had this like urge. It was like, I should check the dumpsters. And he took the off ramp, made the couple of turns up the streets to get to this commercial section. And everything was dark. Everybody had left for the day. This was after 5 o'clock. And he he pulled into the back where the dumpsters were, and he didn't see lights on any of the businesses, no cars, no nothing. So when his headlights hit the dumpsters, he, was turning to pull up next to the dumpster. Well, when he turned, he saw a car sitting in the middle of the parking area, that was behind the businesses. And he thought, well, that's odd, no lights on, no nothing. It's just this car sitting in the middle of the parking lot. And as he's getting out of the car, he suddenly sees the back door on this vehicle thrown open. And there's a young woman, probably late teens, um, trying to get out of the back door. And someone's grabbing her and trying to pull her back into the car. And my husband could see that she was beat up, and her clothes were ripped. And so he had that was, he really didn't have a cell phone with him at the time, but he had some kind of a bar, a crowbar or something in the truck, and he grabbed that, and he went over closer to where the car was, and he started yelling, and he says, let her go. let her go. And the guy's yelling at him, this isn't any of your business, she's my girlfriend, we're just arguing. And my husband, he's like, I don't care. He says, you let her go. And so finally the girl got away from him and ran over behind my husband. And the guy in the car, you know, I guess was trying to get out and was behaving threateningly. And, my husband lied to him and said, look, guys, I already called the police. He says, so you need to get out of here. So the guy, reluctantly got back in his car and took off. And so my husband got this young lady into the van, and it had been a former boyfriend, but they had broken up. And if you know the area, so they were in Pleasanton now, but over in the Walnut Creek area. She had agreed to meet him to talk. He wanted to talk, and so she agreed to meet him. Well, while they were talking, he threw her in the car and took off with her and was punching her, while they were coming down the freeway towards Pleasanton. And he pulled into this commercial area and into the back parking lot and was attempting to rape her. And so when my husband pulled up, the girl saw the headlights and, started fighting more so, I guess, and trying to get the door open and got out. And so once the police were involved, they told my husband, they said, it's a good thing you came, because with the violent way he was beating on her, they said, there's a very real chance that he could have killed her. And where this kind of, the parts I kind of want to point out to you is that that is 5 years my husband drove by that off-ramp, knowing that those dumpsters were there. Never once felt the inclination to go. It's Thanksgiving. It's bumper to bumper traffic. He knows, if anybody in the area knows Altamont on a holiday, I mean, you're looking at least 2 hours to get from Pleasanton to Manteca, if not more. So there really was no reason for him to pick that night to go to these dumpsters. So what I feel is that, that definitely was a heavenly prompt for him to go there. I believe my husband was the answer to her prayers for help. And what it shows me is that God uses us. God uses us to answer prayers. It's not always just about him miraculously doing something. He uses us. And so if you have a sense, if there's something nagging at you, I even think, like, if you're going into the store and someone that you haven't seen in years is coming out that door as you're going in that door, take a moment. That might not be a coincidence that you're seeing them. They may be in a tough situation. Maybe you need to take a few minutes and catch up and say, hey, you doing okay? Is everything all right? Because, that, if you think about the extreme timing of that, to come across somebody's path in that moment that you haven't seen in a really long time, be aware that God may be trying to use you to answer somebody's prayer. And I'm so thankful that this person didn't have a gun or a knife, or that I'm aware of. They did catch him, and the girl was able to get back to her family. And God, my belief is we are God's hands, we're his wallet, we're his mouth, we're his hugs. He uses us. If you say, okay, God, I'm your vessel, use me, He will. He absolutely, absolutely will. So be aware of those moments when you get that odd, hmm, maybe I should check this. Maybe I should call them. Um, Follow through on it, because you may be the answer to someone's prayer. So thank you. Have a blessed day. Bye bye.